Alright, let me tell you about one of the most bizarre international crises happening right now. And when I say bizarre, I mean we've got the President of the United States threatening one of America's closest allies over an island most people couldn't find on a map. This is the Trump-Greenland saga, and it's gone from weird to absolutely insane. The latest insanity. Let's start with what just happened, because it's wild. January 17, 2026. Trump posts on Truth Social that he's slapping a 10% tariff on Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Germany, the UK, the Netherlands, and Finland. Why? Because they dared to send troops to Greenland for a joint NATO exercise called Operation Arctic Endurance. Yeah, you heard that right. NATO allies doing NATO things, and Trump's punishing them for it. But it gets better. He says the tariff goes up to 25% by June if Denmark doesn't agree to sell him Greenland. And when NBC News asked if he'd use military force to take it, he said, and I quote, no comment on whether he'd invade a NATO ally. Then Sunday, he sends a text message to Norway's Prime Minister. And in this message, he says he's demanding complete and total control of Greenland, yes, with capital letters because Norway didn't give him the Nobel Peace Prize last year. I'm not making this up. The President of the United States is threatening military action because he's mad about not getting a trophy. The Norwegian PM released the text publicly because in Norway they have transparency laws and it's as petty as it sounds. Trump wrote, "Considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace." Never mind that the Norwegian government doesn't even award the prize. It's an independent committee. But Trump insists Norway totally controls it despite what they say. This is where we are. Why does Trump even want Greenland? Okay, so before we get into the complete chaos this has become, let's ask the obvious question, why Greenland? Why is Trump so obsessed with this place? First, let's be clear about what Greenland is. It's the world's largest island. Massive, like 836,000 square miles. That's bigger than Alaska and Texas combined. But here's the thing, 80% of it is covered in ice. The population? 56,000 people, that's it. A small city's worth of people spread across this enormous landmass. Greenland is part of the Kingdom of Denmark, but it's got autonomy. They handle their own domestic stuff, but Denmark deals with foreign policy and defense. Trump's stated reasons for wanting Greenland? National security. He says we need it to protect against Russia and China, that Greenland's location is strategically vital, that Denmark can't defend it. But here's what he's really after, rare earth minerals. Greenland sits on an estimated 36 million tons of rare earth elements. These are the materials you need for everything from electric car batteries to fighter jets to smartphones. Right now, China controls most of the global supply. Europe is 100% dependent on Chinese imports for heavy rare earths. So in Trump's mind, owning Greenland means owning the future economy. It's resource colonialism dressed up as national security. Oh, and there's also the fact that Greenland has the Patuxent Space Base, a U.S. military installation that's been there since World War II. We already have military access. But that's not enough for Trump. He wants the whole thing. The historical context nobody's talking about. Here's where it gets interesting, because this isn't actually new. The U.S. has wanted to buy Greenland multiple times. In 1867, Secretary of State William Seward, the guy who bought Alaska from Russia, wanted to buy Greenland too. Didn't happen. Then in 1946, right after World War II, the U.S. secretly offered Denmark $100 million for it. Denmark said no. Why? Because despite Greenland being a colony at the time, it was seen as integral to Danish identity. The Kingdom of Denmark isn't just Denmark, the country, it includes Greenland and the Faroe Islands. Has for centuries. Now let's talk about that colonial history, because it matters. Danish colonization of Greenland started in 1721 when a Lutheran missionary named Hans Egede set up shop. Before that, Norse Vikings had settlements there going back to the 980s. But those died out by the 1400s. Denmark-Norway claimed sovereignty, and when Norway and Denmark split in 1814, Greenland stayed with Denmark. For over 2 centuries, Greenland was a Danish colony. A closed colony, Denmark had a complete trade monopoly. Nobody else could access it. The stated goal was to protect Greenlanders from exploitation, but it was still colonialism. Paternalistic, controlling, extractive. In 1953, Greenland's status changed from colony to an integrated part of Denmark. Greenlanders became Danish citizens, but Denmark then pushed aggressive assimilation policies forcing Danish language, Danish education, trying to erase Greenlandic culture. It wasn't until 1979 that Greenland got home rule, and in 2009, they got even more autonomy with the Self-Government Act, which recognized Greenlanders as a people under international law with the right to independence. Here's the kicker: most Greenlanders want independence. Polls consistently show it, but they also want to maintain their welfare state. And right now, Denmark provides about $600 million a year in subsidies. That's like $10,000 per person. Without it, the economy collapses. So Greenland's caught. They don't want to be Danish, but they can't afford to be independent yet, and they definitely don't want to be American. Trump's first attempt and what changed. Trump first floated buying Greenland in 2019 during his first presidency. People laughed. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen called it absurd. Trump got mad, canceled a state visit to Denmark, and sulked about it. But he didn't push that hard. It was mostly a weird headline that went away. This time, completely different. This time, Trump's serious. Dead serious, and he's willing to blow up NATO to get it. What changed? A few things. 1. Trump's emboldened. He just pulled off a military operation in Venezuela, abducting Nicolas Maduro. If he can do that to Venezuela, why not pressure Denmark? 2. His second term is all about American expansionism. He's openly said the U.S. needs to acquire territory. He wants the Panama Canal back. He's made jokes about Canada becoming the 51st state. This is a pattern. 3. His advisors are more aggressive this time. People like Stephen Miller, who literally said on camera that the U.S. has the right to take Greenland. His wife Katie Miller posted a map showing Greenland under a U.S. flag with the words soon. And 4. Trump genuinely believes this is about legacy. He wants to be the president who expanded American territory. The guy who bought Greenland. It's ego mixed with strategy. And it's dangerous. Denmark and Greenland fight back. So how are Denmark and Greenland responding? Frederiksen has been crystal clear: Greenland is not for sale, period. She's also said that if the U.S. took military action against Greenland, it would be the end of NATO. And she means it. Denmark would invoke Article 5, the Mutual Defense Clause, meaning NATO members would be treaty-bound to defend Denmark against the United States. Think about that. The U.S. attacking a NATO ally would destroy the entire alliance. It would be the biggest transatlantic rupture since maybe ever. Greenland's leaders are just as firm. Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said, "Greenland is ours. We are not for sale and will never be for sale. We must not lose our long struggle for freedom." And here's what's crucial: 85% of Greenlanders oppose joining the United States. Only 6% support it. This isn't some contested issue. Greenlanders overwhelmingly do not want this. Denmark's also putting its money where its mouth is. They just announced a 14.6 billion kroner, about $6 billion Arctic defense investment. They're beefing up military capabilities in Greenland. The message: we will defend this territory. The NATO dimension. Now here's where things get really concerning. 8 NATO countries: Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Germany, the UK, the Netherlands, Finland, and France just issued a joint statement condemning Trump's tariff threats. They called it a dangerous downward spiral. They stood in full solidarity with Denmark and Greenland, and they made clear they're not backing down. Some NATO allies also deployed troops to Greenland for Operation Arctic Endurance, a defensive exercise explicitly designed to show that Greenland is protected. It's a warning to Trump: if you try something, you're going to war with Europe. This is unprecedented. Never before has there been this kind of open confrontation between the U.S. and multiple NATO allies simultaneously over American territorial demands. Even Republican lawmakers are freaking out. Senator Tom Tillis, who was on a congressional delegation to Denmark, called the administration's approach beyond stupid. He said the idea of using coercion against an ally hurts the legacy of President Trump and undercuts all the work he has done to strengthen the NATO alliance. That's a Republican senator, openly blasting the president. What happens next? So where does this go? Honestly, nobody knows. Because Trump's unpredictable and he's surrounded by people telling him he can do whatever he wants. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is supposed to meet with Danish officials. But when asked if he'd rule out military force, he refused. "I'm not here to talk about Denmark or military intervention," he said, which is basically diplomatic speak for "it's on the table." Denmark pulled out of the World Economic Forum in Davos this week. Massive protests erupted in Copenhagen with signs saying "Yankee go home" and "Greenland not for sale." The EU is discussing using something called the anti-coercion instrument to retaliate against U.S. tariffs. They're also stalling approval of a major U.S. trade agreement. This could spiral into a full trade war. NATO could fracture. The entire post-World War II alliance structure could collapse over Greenland. And here's the thing, some experts think Denmark might actually consider accelerating Greenland's independence as a way out of this mess. If Greenland becomes its own country, Trump's claim that Denmark has no right becomes moot. Greenland could then negotiate its own relationship with the U.S., probably some kind of defense compact while maintaining sovereignty. But that's a huge gamble, and it might not work if Trump's real goal is full territorial control. The bottom line: look, I get why Greenland matters strategically. The Arctic is heating up literally and geopolitically. Russia and China are more active there. Rare earth minerals are genuinely important for future technology. But this isn't how you handle it. You don't threaten allies. You don't impose tariffs on NATO partners. You don't link geopolitical demands to personal grievances about awards you didn't win. And you definitely don't refuse to rule out invading a friendly democracy because you want their land. What we're watching is a U.S. president willing to destroy the Western alliance for territorial acquisition. It's 19th century imperialism with 21st century weapons. Denmark and Greenland aren't backing down. Europe is rallying behind them. And Trump's response has been to double down with threats and tariffs. This is the biggest crisis NATO has faced in generations. Not from Russia, not from China, from the United States itself. And it's all because one man looked at a map and decided he wanted Greenland. That's where we are. That's the story. It's absurd, it's dangerous, and it's happening right now.